Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Unlocked. I am your host, Tracy Wilson, and it is a glorious day here on the Gold Coast of Australia. Beautiful blue sky outside, and I thought it was a wonderful day for us to talk about pricing and why and how to actually stop doing things for free. So I wanted to make sure that I covered that off. I've had a number of questions about this over the last couple of weeks, and it's kind of was a bit of an inspiration for me to to talk about this today. So I want to talk about like how and why you need to stop doing things for free, and how to actually price and charge for your services. But not only that, I want to make sure that when you do it, you actually feel good about it. So I want to, I'm going to cover all of that off. I want to say welcome to everybody who is from the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group. For those of you that are inside of that group and joining us today on Facebook, welcome. And if you are not inside of that group, man, oh man, where have you been? You need to get on over there. We are at like episode number 49 of the Unlock show right now. So there is loads and loads of value inside of that group. You can watch all of the shows, or you can go to YouTube if you so wish to, or even download the podcast, which is available on all the different channels. So if you're a Stitcher user or a iTunes or whatever it is that you use from a podcast point of view, you can head on over there and download the podcast. Make sure that you share share it with people so that they also get to learn and listen to some of the things that we're talking about. So today I have also got, for those of you that are going to hang around until the end, I have got some giveaways for you. So from time to time, most of the time, I do some giveaways. I give away stuff inside of the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group. That is the place you need to go to get the freebie. So if you're not inside of there, yes, you're going to get loads of value by listening and watching today and taking notes, which is what I want you to do. But more importantly, I want you to go away after every one of these shows and actually implement what you've learned. But the place to actually get the tools that I'm going to give you today is by joining the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group on Facebook. Okay, so let's get stuck in. Like I said, topic today is how to price and charge your services, feel good about it, how and why you actually need to stop doing things for free. So let's get stuck into this. And firstly, I want to kind of call out to those people that I think today's session is absolutely for. And it's for those of you who are out there who have those huge hearts, big-hearted people that just love doing things for other people. And sometimes, we don't even think about our own self-worth or the cost to us in making sure that we service and we serve other people at the highest of levels. So if you've got a great big heart, today's show is for you. It's also for those of you who are what we would call an empath. So you really feel for people, and you're going to understand why that is the case as we move through today's show. Also, it's for people who are starting out. So if you're starting out and you don't really know kind of how to navigate things, how to price your services, and when it is appropriate and when it's not appropriate to do something for free, I'm going to cover all of that too. You're not sure of your value, and also, like I said, you have no idea how to price your products and or your services. So if you fit any of those, the bill for any of them, then stick around, because I'm going to help you guys hopefully a lot today with the things that I'm going to share with you. So let's kind of get a few, I suppose, elephants out of the room initially, which is like, let's talk about why is it or when is it actually appropriate to do things for free? Because sometimes it is appropriate to do things for free, but not always. And there is a big distinction here that you need to really be, I suppose, aware of, so that you can move yourself very quickly out of, doing things for free all the time into actually getting paid for your skills, your expertise, and the amazing things that you do. So when is it appropriate? Well, it's appropriate sometimes when you're starting out. So when you're starting out and you're trying to gain credibility, you're trying to get results. So if you're trying to kind of validate what it is that you're doing, your product, your service, etc., and you're wanting to get some runs on the board, then it may be appropriate for you to go out and do what we would consider a beta test group, or working with, some initial clients for free, so that you can gain credibility, you can get some results under your belt, you can gather some case studies, gain confidence for yourself, validation, like I said, which is validating you, validating your product, validating your services, going to get yourself some testimonials, but it's also appropriate when you are sharing information. So things like today. So you might be, people will be going, well, Tracy, you share a whole heap of stuff, on these shows. Is that appropriate to actually do? I would say yes, it is. Why? Because you're sharing of your information. There's nothing wrong with doing that for free. And I've talked about these, the different types of information that you can share in a few of the previous episodes. So when you're doing belief adjusters, some how-to content, relationship building type content, it's all appropriate to do it when you are doing all of those things. Now, when is it not appropriate to do things for free? It's not really appropriate to do things for free when you're an expert, when you've gained yourself some credibility. And I've talked a lot about this, where you're kind of like that. Sometimes when you're the expert, but you're a hidden and unknown expert. Often when you find yourself in that realm, you think that you have to continue to do things for free. And again, in the previous episodes, I did a whole series on this, of how to step out from, kind of the shadows, how to become that known and authority in your marketplace, and how to be sought after. So you want to really very quickly shift to that. Not appropriate to do a lot of stuff for free when you sit in that space. Why? Because you're going to, your time, your expertise, all of those things become precious. They're a commodity that you need to really, look after and make sure that you charge appropriately. So someone here's saying, no good deed goes unpunished. It's a fair exchange. So absolutely, we want to make sure that we have a fair exchange for the expertise and the skills and knowledge that you have and you bring to somebody, for the amount of money that you're going to get paid, for that exchange. So like I said, when you're already an expert, you want to make sure that you're charging for your services. When you've got credibility, when you've got proven results, and you are confident in your expertise, your products and your services, and when it's costing you your money and your time. So again, as you move down this path of entrepreneurship, business ownership, there are going to be times where things are costing you. Even when you're starting out, there is a cost for you to do business. And I'm going to help you to understand what a lot of those costs are today too. And I'm just sort of moving so I can actually see my screen properly. Okay, so, and guys, if you are listening to the podcast, don't worry too much. I know you can't see a lot of the screen, but I'm going to share a lot of the information with you. I'll put it into the comment section, and I'll drop them down below so that you guys can also have access to all the freebies that I'm going to give away today. Okay, so here's the thing. People don't value what they don't pay for. And I'm going to give you a bit of an example of this, and I want you to really think about how this is, suppose, real for you, and why this is absolutely true. People don't value what they don't pay for. So I want you to think for a moment about something that you've had that has been damaged, lost, or even stolen, and then a time where you've actually said, I don't worry about it. It's okay. Why is it okay? Because it didn't really cost me that much. I wasn't out of pocket very much, or I got that for free. Have you ever found yourself saying that? And if you have, that would be an indicator to the fact that maybe you didn't value that as much as, you should have or could have. On the flip side of that, now imagine that you've actually, I want you to think about how you would feel when you paid a lot of money for something. Maybe it was, a new vase, it was a family heirloom, it was something that you purchased that was really expensive, something that you hold dear to your heart, but it cost you a lot of money. Now imagine that thing, so whatever it is that you're thinking about right now, has just been damaged, stolen, or even lost. What would you say, and how would you feel about that? Would you still say, don't worry, it's okay. I didn't really pay a lot of money for that. Don't worry, I've got more money where that came from, and I've just gone and buy me another one, etc., etc. So this just goes to show that when we actually, often when we pay for something, we immediately attach some increased level of value to that. We value it, and therefore we're more likely to look after it, take care of it, take action on it. And that's exactly, and unfortunately, that is what happens even when you are giving away your services, your products, your services, your information, your knowledge, etc., for free on a regular basis. People just don't value it the same. So let me know, would you guys agree with that? Let me know if you can resonate with that. Let me know in the comments. The other thing that often happens, so when you're giving away things for free, often we find ourselves in this place because we feel good about it. It makes us feel really good. So it's like we have this short-term gain, but in fact, we end up having long-term pain. All right. So we often, we talk about that saying is short-term pain for long-term gain. Not in this case. When you continue to give things away for free, you end up with a short-term gain. That gain is for both you and your client. It's because you feel good. You feel like, oh, I've done a good deed. I'm feeling really great about what I've done. I've helped these people. I'm super busy, blah, blah, blah. And the client, on the other hand, thinks that you're wonderful, and you think that's great because they think you're wonderful. So it's a little ego thing going on here where, our ego gets inflated because we've done great things. But in the long term, nobody wins. In the long term, you don't win because they don't take action. And they won't get a result, and neither do you get a result, right? So it becomes this kind of self-fulfilling prophecy where you continue to give things away for free. They don't take action on it. Yes, you might feel good, and they feel good short term, but long term, they don't do things. They don't, implement what you're talking about. Therefore, they don't get a result. And what is the outcome of that? Well, both you and they feel empty, and it's probably not going to be a long-term relationship. I decided I would talk about this because this was actually a really in-depth conversation I had with somebody else about a week or two ago. And she was talking about, she's an absolute expert in what she does, but she was saying that she's doing heaps of stuff for people for free. And she really feels like, she can't charge them. She can't charge them because they're starting out. They don't have a lot of money. So all of a sudden, she's taking on all of their burden. The reality is, guys, and this is going to sound really brutal, but it's not your problem. You want to front up to the table, and you want to tell them what it is and show them the results that you can get them. And when they see the value, your value will be worth it. So I'm going to help you, like I said, I'm going to help you understand this in a lot more detail and give you some calculators that are even going to help you to work out what your value is further on in today's conversation. All right, so the first thing that you've got to do is, if you haven't figured this out already, this is a massive mindset shift. A lot of what I've been talking about, even over the last couple of episodes, is a lot to do with like what goes on our inside, what goes on inside of our, inside of our noggin. And it's a big mindset shift. So what you want to understand, or you need to make a decision, is what business are you in? Are you in the business of short-term gratification? Meaning, are you prepared to have, short-term gratification, feel good about yourself, and maybe your client gets, some short-term result? Or are you about long-term results and sustainability? And I would think that, I would say you should be in the game of long-term results and sustainability, because that's what people need to make sure that they can continue to be doing what they're doing long term. And that's how they really impact the world. If you can't do that, if you can't do that for yourself and you can't help your clients do that, then the likelihood of them being around for a long time and making a big impact is going to be very, very small. And you're not doing anybody any favors. Like, I think you can understand this now. You're not doing anybody any favors by doing things for free. You're not helping yourself, nor are you helping the client. So let's, now that we've kind of got that out of the road, we've kind of covered off a couple of elephants in the room. We understand who it is that I'm really trying to help today. There are a few fundamental things that you need to understand when you are putting together, like when you understand the sort of the mindset shift you have to have, then it's like, okay, well now how do I charge for what I'm doing, and how do I actually work out what I should be charging? So I'm going to take you through a process now. And like I said, I'm going to give you some tools at the end of today's session so you can actually go away, use these tools to help you to start charging what it is that you are worth, increase your value, and really start getting results for people so that they are long-term and that they are sustainable for both you and your customer, because you're probably not going to be doing what you are doing now or going to be doing into the future for very long if you cannot make money out of it. It will continue to be a really nice hobby for you, and we don't want it to be that. Okay, so the very first thing, get my words right today. Very first thing you need to do is you've got to work out like your break-even point. This is something that a lot of businesses don't do, and particularly in the consulting space. We generally, we go out and we go, oh, well, what should I charge? Pluck a figure out of the air. Maybe you do a little bit of research, but you really want to understand what this break-even point is, because when you understand that, you then can start, working on how do you actually make profit. I see a lot of people, I'm going to call this out. I see a lot of people in a program that I was in some time ago. It's called the 2 Comma Club. And a lot of people are getting an award for making $1 million. And the really interesting thing is that a lot of people are making $1 million, but very few of them are keeping that. Lots and lots of them have very, very high expenses. So no point in making $1 million if your expenses are $1 million and you got net profit of 0. So we want to make sure that we understand what our break-even point is, and then you can start to use that as your basis to start creating your pricing structure. So how do you create the break-even? So I'm going to give you, like I said, I'm going to give you actually a worksheet calculation that will help you to work out what the break-even point is. So let's first cover off what the heck is break-even. Well, break-even basically is going to give us, it's a calculation that we use to determine how long is it going to take us to make the money that we need to make, how much money will we need to earn, and how many things or how many widgets do we need to sell for us to cover our costs and then become profitable. So you want to start with that first. You're looking at like all of your costs, your fixed costs, and your variable costs, and then you're going to determine like what is your actual break-even point, and it will help you to work out like what is the dollar value, but also what are the widgets, how many widgets do you actually need to do to calculate whether or not you are going to be profitable. So I'm not going to go into, I'll do a whole session on like how to calculate that in a separate session. I just wanted to cover that off today. First thing is work out your break-even. Like I said, I'm going to give you a worksheet so that it covers like how to do it. It gives you the 4 simple steps and how to calculate this. I want you to start there. I want you to look at your costs in your business and start with your break-even point. The next thing I want you to do is I want you to start working out what calculating your value, like how much do I actually want to earn a year. So I start with my break-even point. This is kind of like very high level. Break-even point. How much do I want to earn per year? So for example, just if you were, I want to earn, say, $150,000 a year. Let's say that was an income that you were wanting. That's like in your pocket, you're going to take that home. And then you want to work out how many hours do I actually want to work? How many weeks per year am I prepared to work? And let's face it, guys, you are no longer in a 9-to-5 job where the boss dictates to you how many weeks of leave you get to have every year. You can determine exactly how many weeks a year you want to have, as your holidays or your vacation time. You get to determine that, but you get to determine that when you figure this out, because if you don't do this and you just start taking, holidays whenever you want it, then you're probably going to find that by the time you get to the end of the year, you're going to be, oh crap, I didn't make anywhere near the money that I needed to make. So I look at like break-even point, then I look at what is my desired annual income, how many weeks per year am I prepared to work, because I do what I do now, and I'm sure you do too, so that you can call the shots. You can have flexibility and freedom in your business, which means that, like I did last week, I got to go on vacation with my husband, and we got to go away. And if in a few months' time, we'll be going camping with the kids, and I want to have a break over the Christmas holiday. So you want to factor all of these things in. The next thing you want to look at is how many days per week do you want to work? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but I doubt that all of you would say, in fact, I want to work 80 hours, I want to work 10 hours a day, 7 days a week. I mean, most of us, there's no way in heck. And if you're doing that, then you want to sort of do a bit of an adjustment because you are going to burn out. So we don't want to do that. So work out how many days a week you actually want to work. Is it 5 days? Is it 3 days? Is it 2 days? Whatever the heck it is, you need to kind of make a commitment and work out how many hours that is. Then you're going to work out how many hours per week in total you are going to work. The calculator I'm going to give you is, once you plug all of these things in, it's going to tell you how much your hourly rate needs to be based on the desired income you want, based on the number of weeks per annum you want to work, the number of days you want to work, the number of hours. It's going to break it all down and give you your weekly income, your daily income, and your hourly rate based on those factors that you've put in. Then once you've got that, you're going to be looking at, okay, what's my break-even point? How much do I actually want to take home and put in my back pocket and be able to enjoy life with? Right, so you've got that. Then that's going to help you to determine how many of something you're going to have to sell or have to do. The next thing you want to factor in is what I call the taxes, or what most people would call the taxes, actually. So you've got tax, but there's actually a couple of different types of taxes that I want you to consider. And one of them you've probably never even heard of because, or you have never considered it, because there's a regular tax. And here in Australia, we've got things like, income tax, GST, blah, blah, blah. But then there's this other tax that I call the PITA tax, PITA. Okay, so jot this down. This is super important. This comes into play when you are pricing up jobs, particularly. So if you've just got a set, pricing menu, and you know what it costs you, you've done this process, and then you're kind of getting to a point where you've just got a set standard pricing menu. You probably don't have to use PITA in this scenario. But if you're a consultant and you're pricing things based on projects, and you are working with individual people, then you would want to make sure that you consider the PITA tax, PITA. What the heck is PITA tax? Well, as you probably know, that most of the time when you're working with people in business, 80% or 20% of the business that you do is going to result in 80% of your income. Then there's a whole bunch of people that are going to take a lot of your time. There'll be 20% of of the people you work with, or 20% of the projects that you do, that are probably going to take up 80% of the time that it takes for you to do it. So you need to include this PITA tax. PITA tax is including a margin for what I call the pain in the ass tax. All right, so I'm being very raw and honest with you today, but you need to make sure that there are some clients that you're going to work with, you're going to look at jobs and you're going to go, what should I price this at? Man, they're going to take a lot of time. If they're going to be a PAIN in the backside, then you want to make sure that you factor some pricing in for that, because they are likely to take up a lot more of your time. So you want to make sure that you do your regular taxes, but you're also including a margin for the PITA tax. Okay, and the last thing that I have on the list is you want to also factor in reinvestment. So you never ever want to take all of the money out of your business and have nothing to reinvest into development, into new assets, etc., etc. You want to make sure that you're also accounting for, and you are adding into your pricing structure a way for you to be able to improve your technology, improve the tools and the resources that you have. Give yourself, some investment in terms of your own personal development, personal and business development. So you want to make sure that you add all of those things in. So the 4 things that I've gone through today to make sure that you kind of have this process of what should I charge and why should you charge. So why should you charge? Because you've got costs, people, and you're also very good at what you do. You wouldn't be on the show if you weren't, because the people I talk to are experts, and maybe they just need to come out. They need some help in marketing themselves so that they can really, truly charge what they are worth and start making the impact that they need to make. So the first is break even. You want to calculate that. I'm going to give you a tool to do that. Secondly is you want to calculate your value. Calculate how much income you want to earn per year. You want to factor that in. If you don't, you're probably going to end up being the last person in the pie that gets paid the pittance that are left. So you want to make sure that you do that. The third is your taxes, regular taxes, and the PITA tax, because we've got to include that on some occasions. And then you want to also include some reinvestment. So reinvestment into all of your equipment, into yourself, etc., etc. So those 4 things will help you to come up with your pricing strategy and your pricing structure. In a session that I did, and I will find it, but it was probably in one of the first 10 episodes that I did, I talked about how to get off the stage and into the audience, how to actually interview people before you take them on and work with them. These 2 things kind of go hand in hand. You want to make sure that you are spending time to determine whether or not they're the kind, whether or not you want to actually work with people before you move forward. So that session will also be really helpful for you. So I've kind of gone over a lot of stuff, those 4 things, and really quickly today. The documentation that I'm going to give you is going to help you to kind of delve a little bit deeper. But over the next few weeks, I will also do these. I'm going to delve deeper and deeper into this and give you some more tools and resources so that you can actually charge what you're worth. I want to make sure that over the next 3 to 4 weeks, you move out of giving things away, willy-nilly for free, and that you're actually charging for your services, because then once you become profitable, you are going to be able to make way more impact in this world and be able, you'll feel much better and you'll have that long-term sustainability. So we will move from having that short-term gain and long-term pain to short-term pain for long-term gain, which is what we want to do. So I'm hoping that today that has been useful and helpful for you to understand what it is that you need to do, but now's the time to shift from that. There are, obviously, I've also talked about, there are times where it is appropriate to do things for free. And, I'm a big believer in reciprocity. Sometimes we give out things, we do things for free, and, you just never, without the expectation of something coming back from that person in return, because I'm a believer that it will come back to you in some way, shape, or form from somebody out there or somewhere out there. But very, very important that you step forward, that you stand in your power, and that you actually are starting to earn what you really deserve, so that you can make a huge difference in this world. So that being said, guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's session. I will be posting those 2 documents for you, which you can use, which will be inside of the Success Secrets for Business, Family and Life group. You can go and grab them there. We hope to see you inside of that group sometime soon. And if you've got any more questions about today's session, feel free to put them into the comments, either now or after the fact, and I'll make sure that I circle back and I answer them for you. And I will go into another, I'll do another session on like how to calculate your break even a little bit further down the track too. So keep your eyes peeled for that. But that's it for me for today. It is Friday. I'm about to have a fantastic weekend with family. I've got a whole lot of family coming over tonight, which will be sitting around my brand new dinner table, and we'll be enjoying one another's company. So I hope you get to do the same with your friends and family over this weekend. So I'll see you guys back again. I'll be back again on Wednesday. I've got a really special guest going to be joining me on Wednesday. We're going to be talking about like how to take care of yourself as an entrepreneur, nutrition, all the things that we sometimes forget to, or we neglect to do because we get so busy trying to serve people as best we can, and we get so tied up in our own businesses, and sometimes we forget to take care of ourselves. So I want to make sure that we're also doing that. So that being said, I'll be back again Wednesday, 10 a.m. Brisbane, Australia time, and then again next Friday, where I'll be doing some more business building tips, tools. I'll have some more resources for you next week. But bye for now. Have a fantastic weekend. And you know how it goes. Just continue to live your life unlocked because there is just no other way. See you guys.